Chief Emeka was the kind of man everybody respected. He didn't talk too much, but when he spoke, people listened. He built his tech company from nothing. Years ago, he used to fix phones and small computers in his uncle's workshop. People laughed at him then. But now, he lived in one of the biggest houses in the city. He had more money than he knew what to do with. People called him the silent billionaire because he didn't like showing off. He liked to stay quiet and watch. But even in that big house, Emeka felt like a stranger. That evening, he sat alone at the far end of a long dining table. His wife, Amarachi, was scrolling through her phone. She had makeup on, even though they weren't going anywhere. She wore a new dress, one of those shiny ones from abroad. She didn't look at him, not even once. Their daughter, Favor, was taking pictures of her food. She held her phone high above her plate, changing angles like she was a movie director. "Favor," Emeka said softly, "can we eat first?" She didn't look up. "Wait, Daddy, just one more. This one will trend." Then she smiled at the screen and added a filter to make her soup look brighter. Their little boy, Toby, sat beside Emeka. He didn't say much, but he always paid attention. He was only 10, but he had eyes like someone who saw everything. He looked up at his father and whispered, "Daddy, are you okay?" Emeka smiled, just a little. "I'm fine, Toby." "Thank you." But he wasn't fine. He watched his wife laugh softly at something on her phone. She turned the screen away quickly when she noticed him looking. Favor was giggling at comments online. Toby was the only one who noticed anything. Emeka felt like he didn't belong in his own family. After dinner, everyone went their separate ways. Favor rushed upstairs, probably to do another live video. Amarachi went to the balcony to take a call. Emeka sat on the couch, staring at the wall. The house was quiet, but not the peaceful kind of quiet. It was the kind that felt heavy. He picked up his phone and called Benson, his assistant and oldest friend. The phone rang once, before Benson answered. "Chief, good evening, sir," Benson said. "Benson," Emeka said, his voice low. "I need your help." "Of course, sir. What is it?" "I want you to move all the money into the private holding account. Every last naira. I also want you to pause operations at the company. Let the board know I'm taking a break. But make sure no one knows I'm still rich. Not even the staff." Benson was quiet for a moment. "Sir, are you serious? This will shake everything." "That's the plan," Emeka replied. "Are you okay, sir?" "I just need to know the truth." Later that night, Emeka sat outside under the stars, thinking about everything. His chest felt heavy. He remembered how Amarachi used to sit beside him on nights like this, her head resting on his shoulder. Now, she didn't even look at him unless he was handing her a credit card. He remembered when Favor was a little girl, running to him every evening shouting, "Daddy's home!" Now she only called him when she needed money for something. Only Toby still treated him the same. He closed his eyes and sighed deeply. The next morning, Emeka woke up early. He didn't sleep much. He wore simple clothes, jeans and a plain shirt. He went around the house, making sure everyone was awake. Amarachi came down the stairs wearing a silk robe. She looked annoyed. "Why are we all up so early?" she asked. Favor dragged her feet behind her, holding her phone in one hand. "Dad, can't this wait? I'm tired." Toby was already dressed and standing beside his dad. Emeka stood in the middle of the living room and looked at them. "I have something to say. Please, just listen." They all looked at him. Amarachi crossed her arms. Favor sat on the armrest of a chair, still scrolling on her phone. Emeka took a deep breath. "We've lost everything." The room went still. Amarachi frowned. "What do you mean, everything?" I mean, the company is gone. The business crashed. The banks froze our accounts. We have no money left, no staff, nothing. Favor let out a loud laugh. Wait, is this one of those prank shows? Are there hidden cameras? Emeka shook his head. No prank. This is real. Amarachi's eyes widened. How can you lose everything just like that? Are you that careless? I tried, Emeka said quietly, but it happened too fast. Favor looked around the house. So, what now? What about the house? We have to leave today, Emeka said. There's only one place left that I own. My late uncle's old house beside his workshop. The mechanic's place. Favor stood up fast. God forbid. Me? In that dirty place? Daddy, I can't live there. There's no Wi-Fi, no mirror, no comfort. My followers will think I'm dead. Amarachi's mouth dropped open. Are you mad? You want to bury me in that gutter house after all these years in mansions and hotels? Do you know who I am? I know exactly who you are, Emeka replied calmly. That's why I need to see what you'll do now. Favor picked up her bag. I'm calling my boyfriend. I'll stay with him. There's no way I'm following you to that village of a house. Favor! Amarachi snapped. You're not going anywhere. Then you can go, Favor shouted. But I'm not following him into that rubbish life. Toby stepped forward and held his dad's hand. I'll come with you, Daddy. Amarachi turned to him. You're a child. You don't understand anything. This man failed us. He's still my dad, Toby said quietly. Amarachi looked away. She picked up her phone and dialed a number. Let me call my cousin. Maybe she can help. Emeka didn't say a word. He walked to his room to pack. Toby followed him silently. By afternoon, they had packed some clothes into small bags. No maids helped. No drivers. The house felt empty, without the usual noise of people working. Emeka walked into the garage. Instead of his usual black SUV, there was an old, dusty car Benson had arranged. It looked like something from 10 years ago. Favor refused to enter. She stood outside, crossing her arms. I'm not going. Amarachi sighed and got into the front seat, still frowning. Toby got in the back seat and held his dad's hand. Emeka looked at the house one last time before starting the engine. He didn't say goodbye. The road to the old compound was long and rough. Dust rose with every bump. Favor kept calling people, shouting into her phone. Amarachi kept complaining. This seat is too hard, she said. This car is hot, Favor added. My back hurts, Amarachi muttered. Toby said nothing. He just looked out the window and smiled at the breeze. Hours later, they arrived. The compound was small. There was one house made of brown blocks and a rusty iron roof. The workshop next to it had a few broken cars and a bench with tools scattered everywhere. Amarachi stepped out of the car and stared. Is this a joke? This place looks like it was abandoned during the war. Favor opened the car door slowly and covered her nose. Ew! What's that smell? This house belonged to my uncle, Emeka said. We'll manage here for now. Manage? Amarachi shouted. Me, Amarachi, manage in this death trap? After all the years of luxury? You've lost your mind. Favor hissed loudly. I knew I should have just stayed with my boyfriend. Toby came down from the car and helped his father carry the bags. The front door made a loud creaking sound when Emeka opened it. Inside, the living room had 2 plastic chairs and an old wooden table. Cobwebs hung in the corners. The air was thick with dust. Amarachi refused to enter. You better find somewhere else for me. I'm not entering that nonsense. We have no choice, Emeka said. You're wicked, she spat. You've destroyed everything. I tried to save it, he said. Well, you failed, she snapped. Favor sat on a small stool outside and typed furiously on her phone. Toby carried the bags inside, one after the other. "I used to visit here during holidays," Toby said softly. "It's not so bad." Emeka smiled a little. He put his hand on Toby's shoulder. Later that evening, Emeka tried to boil water outside using firewood. He hadn't done it in years. His hands shook. The fire wouldn't catch. Smoke filled his eyes. He coughed, eyes burning. Toby knelt beside him and started arranging the firewood. "Blow gently," he said. Emeka watched as the flames slowly caught. "I used to watch the boys here do it during the holidays," Toby said, still focused. Emeka nodded. "I remember." He looked at his son and smiled, a small tear forming in the corner of his eye. "Thank you, Toby. You don't know how much this means to me." Toby looked up and said, "You're my dad. That's what matters." And for the first time in a long time, Emeka felt seen. Not for his money, not for his power, but for who he truly was. That night, while the fire crackled outside, Emeka sat quietly beside it with Toby. The stars were out again, the same stars that used to shine over him when he had nothing. But this time, something was different. He still had nothing. Yet somehow, sitting beside his son, he didn't feel alone anymore. That night, Emeka barely slept. The hard mattress on the wooden bed made his back ache. Mosquitoes buzzed near his ears, and the room smelled like old clothes and damp walls. He turned from side to side, but his mind was louder than the noise outside. Amarachi didn't speak to him after they arrived. She stayed in one corner of the house, arms folded, eyes full of anger. Favor had refused to come in at all. She made a few calls from outside, and when none of her friends picked up, she sent long voice notes full of complaints. When it got dark, she finally came in but didn't speak to anyone. She found a small chair in the corner of the room and plugged in her power bank. "At least let me charge my phone," she said, even though the light kept blinking from low voltage. Only Tobe was calm. He helped Emeka cover the windows with cloth to stop the mosquitoes. He even wiped the dusty table with an old rag they found in a bag. Before sleeping, he said, "Good night, Daddy," and lay on a mat beside the bed. When the morning came, the house felt quiet again. Not the peaceful kind, just the kind that made everything feel heavy. Emeka stretched and sat up. His back cracked a little, and he winced. He looked down at Toby, who was still asleep, his little arms wrapped around a faded teddy bear he found in the room. Emeka stood up slowly and walked outside. The sun wasn't up yet, but the sky was turning gray. He picked up a small kettle and walked down the path to the backyard tap. It was rusty, and the water came out slowly, but it was enough. He washed his face and sighed. When he came back inside, Amarachi was standing in the middle of the room, arms crossed. She had on one of her fancy wrappers, though the setting didn't match her look. "So, this is how you want us to live now?" she asked. Emeka wiped his face with a towel. "It's just for now. We'll manage," she hissed. "Don't use that word with me." "Manage? Me? In this place? This isn't life. It's punishment." "It's not punishment, it's a chance to breathe. A chance to see clearly." She rolled her eyes. "Clearly? You must be joking. You should have told me this earlier. I would have made better plans." "What plans?" Amarachi didn't answer. She walked outside, pulling her shawl over her head. Toby yawned from his mat. "Is it morning already?" Emeka smiled. "Yes, son. Let's see what we can cook." They went outside to the small kitchen space behind the house. It was just 3 stones and some old firewood. Toby ran off and came back with dry sticks. Emeka tried to set up the fire, but the matchbox was wet. "Use this," Toby said, handing him a small lighter he found in the shed. They finally got the fire going. Smoke rose into the air, and Toby coughed a little. Emeka placed a small pot on the fire and added water. "We'll boil yam this morning. It's all we have." Favor finally came out, rubbing her eyes. "This smoke is choking me," she shouted. "Why are we doing all this by ourselves? Where's the cook?" Emeka looked at her calmly. "There's no cook here, just us." "Then I'm not eating," she snapped. "I'll just order something." "With what money?" Emeka asked. Favor paused. "I have data. I'll talk to someone." Amarachi came back, talking on the phone. Her voice was low, but Emeka could hear some of it. "No, I can't come now. He's watching me." "Yes. The place is horrible. Flies everywhere." "Okay. Call me later." Emeka didn't say anything. He just kept stirring the pot. Later in the afternoon, they sat on the small bench in front of the house. Amarachi didn't eat. Favor pushed her food away after one bite. "It's too plain," she said. Only Toby ate quietly beside his father. "It tastes okay to me, Daddy," he said. "I'm glad you like it." Suddenly, Amarachi stood up. "I need to go out." "Where?" Emeka asked. "Just out. I need fresh air." He nodded slowly. "Okay, be careful." She picked up her bag and walked away quickly, her high heels clicking on the cement path. Toby watched her. "Where's Mummy going?" "I don't know," Emeka said softly. Later that evening, Amarachi returned with a small shopping bag. She didn't say where she went. She didn't greet anyone. She just walked straight into the room and shut the door. The next few days were the same. Every morning, Emeka and Toby woke up early to clean the compound, fetch water, and cook. They sat on the floor to eat. Favor spent her time complaining about the heat, the noise, and the lack of internet. "This place is ruining my life," she shouted one afternoon. "Do you even know I've lost followers because of this nonsense? I haven't posted in days." Amarachi barely spoke. She always wore nice clothes, even though they were in a small house. She always had somewhere to go. She would walk out with her bag and come back late. Emeka started noticing things. Once, he saw her smiling at her phone screen while dressing up. When she saw him looking, she quickly turned off the phone. Another time, she received a call and walked far from the house to answer it. Emeka followed quietly. He stayed behind the shed and listened. "Yes, baby," she said. "I'll be done soon. This place is disgusting. I just need him to get tired and give up. Then I'll come back to you." Emeka closed his eyes. His chest tightened. He didn't move. He just stood there hearing every word. "No, he has no idea. He thinks I'm suffering. Please. That man is too soft." Emeka slowly walked back to the house. He didn't say a word. That night he sat outside alone. Tobe joined him. "Are you sad again, Daddy?" Emeka looked up at the stars. "A little? Why?" "Because sometimes people we love forget how to love us back." Toby leaned on his shoulder. "I love you, Daddy." Emeka wrapped his arm around him. "I know, son. I know." The next day, Amarachi dressed up again. This time, she wore perfume. Her face was fully made up. "Going out again?" Emeka asked. "Of course," she said. "Or do you want me to sit here and rot? Do you want me to drop you off somewhere?" "No," she said quickly. "I already called a ride." Emeka watched her walk away. Her bag was shiny. Her phone buzzed, and she smiled as she read the message. After she left, Emeka picked up his phone and called Benson. "I think I've seen enough," he said. "Is it time, sir?" "Not yet. Let's wait a little more." Toby ran into the house holding a lizard. "Daddy, look!" Emeka laughed. "Where did you find that?" "By the wall. It ran fast, but I caught it." "Put it down before your sister faints," Emeka joked. Favor walked out at that moment and screamed, "Is that a lizard? You people want to kill me in this place." Toby dropped it and laughed. Sorry. The moment passed with a small smile, but Emeka's heart was heavy again. Later in the week, Amarachi came home late. She looked tired. Her makeup was smudged. She didn't speak to anyone. She dropped her bag and went straight to bed. Emeka waited until morning before speaking. "Where were you yesterday?" he asked. "Why do you care?" she said, brushing her hair. "Because we're still married." She looked at him and laughed. "You're holding on to something that's already broken." Toby walked in, holding a plate. "Mummy, do you want breakfast?" Amarachi didn't look at him. "Number, I'm not hungry." Toby walked back to the kitchen slowly. Emeka looked at her again. "How long are you going to pretend?" "Pretend what?" "That you're still here." Amarachi didn't answer. She picked up her phone and left the room. That evening, Emeka watched from behind the shed again. A black SUV pulled up near the corner. Amarachi rushed out of the compound and got in. The man driving leaned over and kissed her cheek. She laughed loudly and placed her hand on his chest. Emeka stood there, hidden, his heart pounding. He didn't cry. He didn't shout. He just turned around and walked back to the house. Inside, Toby was drawing on a small notepad. He looked up. "Daddy, are you okay?" Emeka nodded. "Yes, son. Everything is just fine." But nothing was fine. And deep down, he knew something worse was coming. It had been almost 2 weeks since Emeka brought his family to the mechanic's house. Every day felt like a test. Every night felt like a long, heavy silence. The house was too small for the four of them, yet somehow everyone felt far from each other. Amarachi had stopped talking to Emeka completely. She acted like he wasn't even in the room. When she needed something, she spoke to Toby. Not once did she ask if Emeka was okay. She didn't even ask if there was food. Favor had already found a way to leave. One afternoon, she called Emeka aside. "Daddy," she said, standing by the front door, holding her small bag. "Yes, Favor?" he replied. "I can't stay here anymore," she said. "This place is killing me." Emeka looked at her. "Where will you go?" "My boyfriend said I can stay with his family. They have AC, Wi-Fi, and a real bathroom." "And what about your family here?" "I can't suffer for people who won't suffer for me," she replied. "Let's be honest. We're not even a family anymore." Emeka didn't say anything. He stepped aside and watched her walk out of the compound. She didn't look back. She didn't even say goodbye to her mother or brother. Toby stood behind the curtain, watching everything. When Emeka turned, Toby asked, "Is she coming back?" Emeka rubbed his head. "I don't know, son." That evening, Emeka sat alone in front of the house. The sky was turning orange. He could hear the birds singing, but it didn't calm him. Amarachi came out dressed in a tight dress, full makeup and high heels. "Are you going out again?" Emeka asked. "Yes," she said, without looking at him. "Where to?" "To find a better life," she snapped. "I can't keep living like this. I'm not like you." "I see," Emeka said quietly. "Do you want me to drop you off somewhere?" "Number, he's sending a car," she said, checking her phone. "Who is he?" Emeka asked. Amarachi laughed softly. "You don't need to know." A black SUV pulled up in front of the gate. Emeka stood up and walked to the window. The driver came out and opened the door for Amarachi. Emeka watched closely. The man was wearing a gold chain, sunglasses, and a strong perfume smell followed him as the breeze blew. "Good evening, beautiful," the man said with a wide smile. Amarachi laughed and kissed his cheek. "You kept me waiting." "Traffic," the man said, still smiling. As they got into the car, Emeka heard Amarachi say, "Let's go somewhere quiet. I'm tired of that dirty house." The door shut. and the car drove off. Emeka stood there, frozen. His hands were shaking slightly. He had known for days, but now he had seen it with his own eyes. He walked back into the house, sat down, and stared at the floor. Toby came and sat beside him. "Did Mummy leave again?" "Yes," Emeka replied. "Was that man her friend?" "I think he's more than that," Emeka said, trying to keep his voice steady. Toby held his father's hand. "Don't worry, Daddy. I'm still here." "I know, son. Thank you." The next few days were strange. Amarachi would leave early and return very late. Some nights, she wouldn't return at all. Emeka didn't ask questions anymore. He just watched and wrote everything down in a small notebook. He didn't want to forget anything. He wanted to remember every word, every moment. One afternoon, Emeka saw a message pop up on Amarachi's phone. She had left it charging near the window. The message was from the same man. His name was Mr. Kelvin. The message read, "Had a great time last night. You're too sweet. I might just steal you forever." Another one followed, a minute later. "Let me know when that broke husband of yours gives up. We'll travel to Dubai. Just you and me." Emeka's hand trembled as he put the phone back. He sat down slowly and held his head in his hands. That evening, when Amarachi returned, Emeka was sitting outside again. He didn't speak. She walked past him like he was a piece of furniture. But this time he followed her. She entered the room and dropped her bag. He stood at the door. "Amarachi," he said softly. "What?" she snapped without turning. "I saw the messages," he said. She froze for a second, then slowly turned around. "So?" she asked, arms folded. "So that's what we are now?" he asked. "What do you expect me to do?" she said. "Sit here and die in poverty? Live like a beggar while you drag us through the mud?" "You could have stood by me," Emeka said. "Just for a little while. Just to see if we could get through it together." "I've stood by you enough," she shouted. "For years I've followed your dreams. Now that the money is gone, what do you want from me? Loyalty? Love? Please." Emeka's chest felt tight. "So you never really loved me?" Amarachi laughed bitterly. "I loved the man who made me feel like a queen. This version of you? I don't even recognize him." She pushed past him and walked into the kitchen. Emeka stood there for a long time, staring at the empty room. The next day she didn't return. Toby noticed. "Daddy, Mummy hasn't come back since yesterday. Should we go look for her?" Emeka shook his head. "No, son. She knows where home is. If she wants to come back, she will." "But what if something bad happened to her?" Emeka took a deep breath. Something worse already did. She forgot what love means. Later that night, Toby was fast asleep. Emeka sat in the living room with the small lamp beside him. The fan was off, because there was no power. The air was hot and sticky. His shirt clung to his back. Suddenly he heard footsteps outside. He turned off the lamp and stood near the window. A car door shut. Then voices. Amarachi and Mr. Kelvin were laughing. "You're amazing, baby," Kelvin said. "Your husband has no idea what he's lost." "He's not even a man anymore," Amarachi replied. "Look at the way he lives. It's pathetic." They stood outside the gate, and Emeka watched from the shadows. Amarachi reached up and kissed Kelvin. He held her waist tightly. Emeka turned away and walked to the bedroom. He sat on the bed in the dark. He didn't cry. He didn't scream. He just felt empty. He reached for his notebook and wrote down what he saw. Then he flipped to the first page and read every line from the beginning. All the things he had seen. All the words that had been said to him. All the moments when he hoped for love and got silence instead. The next morning, Amarachi came in like nothing had happened. She stretched and yawned. "Is there food?" she asked. Emeka didn't answer. "Are you deaf now?" she shouted. "I heard you," he said. "Then answer me properly," she snapped. "There's food if you want it, but don't ask me to serve it," he said quietly. She hissed and walked to the pot. She opened the lid, saw plain rice, and slammed it shut. "This is nonsense," she said. "Even prisoners eat better." Toby walked into the room with a small cup of water. "Mummy, do you want water?" She took it without saying thank you. Emeka stood and walked outside. He needed air. He called Benson. "Sir?" Benson answered quickly. "Is it time?" "Not yet," Emeka said. "One more push. Let's see where her heart truly lies." "Are you okay, sir?" Benson asked. "I don't know," Emeka replied, "but I will be." That afternoon, Amarachi dressed up again. This time she wore her best dress, the one she had refused to wear since they arrived. She added gold earrings and red lipstick. "Going somewhere important?" Emeka asked. She smiled. "You'll find out soon enough." "You're really leaving for him, aren't you?" "What do you think?" she said. "You want me to stay and wash plates in this dump?" "What about your vows?" Amarachi laughed. "Those were just words, Emeka. This is life. I choose to survive." A horn honked outside. She walked out without saying goodbye. Toby stood in the corner, watching. "Why is Mummy like that now?" Emeka knelt beside him. "Sometimes people forget the things that matter." "Are you going to forget too?" Emeka hugged him tight. "Never." And as the sun began to set again, Emeka looked up at the sky and whispered to himself, "She made her choice. Now I'll make mine." The sun was high in the sky, but Emeka felt cold inside. The heat from the tin roof made the house feel like an oven, yet he didn't sweat, not even a drop. All the pain, all the anger, had frozen somewhere deep in his chest. He sat on the bench outside, staring at the gate like he was waiting for something. Maybe he was. Tobe sat beside him, drawing shapes in the dust with a stick. He had stopped asking questions. He knew something was wrong, but he didn't want to upset his dad. "Mummy didn't come back again last night," Toby said quietly. Emeka nodded. "I noticed. Is she going to live with that man now?" Emeka looked at his son. Tobe's eyes were too sharp for his age, too full of truth. "She might," Emeka said. "Some people don't know what they have until they lose it." "Do you think she loves him?" Emeka didn't answer at first. He looked up at the sky. A bird flew by, free and light, with nothing holding it back. "I don't know what she feels, son," he finally said. "But I know how she treats us. And love doesn't look like that." Toby nodded slowly. "I still love her." Emeka placed a hand on his shoulder. "So do I." That afternoon, Benson called. Emeka walked far from the house to answer. "Chief," Benson said quickly, "the board wants to know when you're coming back." "Soon," Emeka said. "Very soon. I already moved your schedule around. The company is ready for your return, and the staff is asking questions." "Don't say anything yet," Emeka replied. "Not until I give the word." "Understood. Sir, are you okay? You sound tired." "I am tired, Benson. Tired of pretending. Tired of hoping. But it's almost over. Should I come pick you up?" "No," Emeka said. "I want to finish this myself." Later that evening, Emeka cooked dinner again. Just plain rice and stew. He and Toby sat on the floor and ate together. "You're getting better at this, Daddy," Toby said, chewing happily. Emeka chuckled. "Maybe I should open a restaurant," Toby laughed. "I'll be the waiter." The laughter filled the small room like sunlight. But the joy didn't last long. The door slammed open. Amarachi stumbled in. Her dress was wrinkled, her makeup was smudged. She looked like someone who had been running or crying, or both. Emika stood up quickly. "What happened to you?" She didn't answer. She dropped her purse and sat on the chair, breathing heavily. Toby walked over. "Mummy?" "Go inside," she said sharply. "Now." Toby looked at his father. Emika nodded, and Toby walked into the bedroom slowly. Amarachi wiped her face with the back of her hand. Her hands were shaking. Emika stepped closer. "Talk to me. What happened?" She looked at him. Her eyes were red. Her lips trembled. "He's married." "Who?" "Kelvin," she whispered. "That man. He has a wife, a whole family. I didn't know." Emika didn't blink. "And now you do." "He told me he loved me," she cried. "He said he was going to take me to Dubai. He made me believe he would give me a better life." Emika sat back down, his face calm. "And you believed him?" "I left everything for him," she said. "I was ready to walk away from you. I betrayed you." "Yes," Emika said simply. "You did." She buried her face in her hands. "I'm so ashamed." Emika stared at her. He had imagined this moment so many times. He thought he'd feel happy or powerful, but all he felt was tired. "I tried," he said. "I really tried to keep our family together. But you weren't interested." "I thought you were finished," she said. "I thought the money was gone, and I didn't want to suffer." "So you ran to someone else," Emika said, "without even checking if I needed help." "I made a mistake," she cried. "Please, Emika, forgive me. Give me another chance." Toby peeked out of the room, watching. Emika saw him and said, "Come, Toby." Toby walked over slowly. He looked at his mom, then at his dad. "Is Mummy okay now?" Emika nodded. "She's learning." Amarachi stood up. Her hands were shaking. "I don't care about money anymore. I don't care about mansions or trips. I just want my family back. I'll prove it. I'll fix this." Emika said nothing. He walked outside, sat on the bench again, and stared at the moon. Amarachi followed. She sat beside him, quietly. "I was blind," she said softly. "I forgot how we started. I forgot how much you love me." Emika turned to her. "Do you know why I brought us here?" She nodded slowly. "To test us. To see who really cared." "And what did you show me?" She began to cry again. "That I failed." Emika looked at her. "You didn't just fail. You broke something, and I don't know if it can be fixed." She reached for his hand. "Let me try." He pulled his hand away gently. "It's not that easy." Toby came out and sat between them. He looked at both of them. "Can we just be happy again?" Neither of them answered. The silence said everything. That night, Emeka didn't sleep. He lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Amarachi slept on the floor mat, far from the bed. The next morning she woke up early. She swept the compound, washed the plates, and cooked breakfast. Toby looked surprised. "Mummy, you're cooking?" She smiled weakly. "I'm trying to help." When Emeka came out, she handed him a plate. "I made this. Please eat." He took the plate, sat down, and tasted it. "It's not bad." "I used to cook before the staff came," she said. "Before the money made me lazy." Emeka nodded. He kept eating. "I want to change," she said. "Not for money. For us." Emeka finished eating and stood up. "We'll see." That evening, he picked up his phone and called Benson. "Sir," Benson said, "is it time?" Emeka paused. He looked at Amarachi washing clothes beside the house. Toby was playing with a stick nearby. "Yes," Emeka said. "It's time." "What should I do?" "Get the car ready. Tomorrow morning. Come quietly." "Understood." Early the next morning, Amarachi was sweeping again when a black SUV drove into the compound. It was shining, clean, fresh. The engine purred. Benson stepped out in a fine suit. "Chief," he said, smiling. Amarachi dropped the broom. "What's going on?" Emeka came out in his usual jeans and shirt. "We're leaving." "Leaving?" Amarachi asked. "Yes. I never lost anything. The company is fine. The money is safe. I just needed to see the truth." She looked like she couldn't breathe. You lied? "I tested you," he said, "and you failed. Completely. But..." She stepped back, shaking. "You made me think we were poor." "We could have been," Emeka said. "And I needed to know if you'd still love me without the money." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "I didn't know. I was scared." Emeka turned to Benson. "Pack only my bag and Tobe's." Toby stood at the door, holding a small bag already. He had heard everything. "What about me?" Amarachi asked. "You chose your path," Emeka said. "Now I'll choose mine." She dropped to her knees. "Please, don't leave me here. I've changed." Emeka looked at her. "You've changed because the man you ran to used you. That's not the same as love." Toby walked to his mom and hugged her. "I still love you, Mummy." She cried, harder. "I love you too, baby." Emeka placed a hand on Toby's shoulder. "Let's go." As the car pulled out of the compound, Amarachi sat on the ground, holding her chest. The dust from the tires rose behind them. She didn't chase after the car. She just cried. And inside the car, Emeka looked out the window, trying not to cry too. He had gotten the truth, but it didn't feel good. It felt like loss. The car moved quietly through the early morning traffic, cutting through the city like a shadow. Inside the sleek black SUV, Emeka sat beside Toby, who was resting his head gently on his father's shoulder. The boy's small eyes were sleepy but peaceful. He had no idea that everything was about to change again. Benson, who was driving, looked at them through the rearview mirror. "Chief," he said softly, "we're almost there." Emeka nodded slowly. He looked out the window at the familiar roads, the tall buildings, the colorful signs, the noisy people. It all felt strange now, almost like a dream he had forgotten. Toby blinked and sat up straight. "Where are we going, Daddy?" Emeka smiled, though his heart still felt heavy. "Home, son. We're going home." Tobe's eyes widened. "The big house?" "Yes, the big house." As the car turned into the wide, shiny gate of their mansion, two security guards quickly stood at attention. Their eyes popped open in surprise. The gate opened slowly, revealing the huge, beautiful house standing proudly in the middle of the compound. Everything looked exactly how they had left it. The green grass was neatly cut. The fountain in front was still flowing. The air smelled of flowers and wealth. Toby leaned against the window. "Wow, it's still here." Emeka smiled again, more sadly this time. "Yes, everything we lost wasn't really lost." When they stepped out of the car, the housekeeper ran toward them. Her eyes were full of shock and confusion. "Sir, you're back," she shouted. "Oh my God, everyone said you were gone forever." "I was just taking a break," Emeka said calmly. The chef, the gardener, and a few other workers came out one after the other. They all looked happy, smiling and nodding. "Please, sir," the chef said excitedly. "Should I prepare something special for you and your son?" Emeka nodded gently. "Yes, something simple. Toby likes rice." Toby grinned. "With plantain." "Plantain coming right up," the chef said, rushing back into the house. Inside the mansion, the furniture was untouched. Everything was polished and sparkling. The marble floor reflected their feet as they walked slowly through the quiet hall. Tobe stopped in front of the large family photo hanging on the wall. It showed all four of them smiling, back when they were still close. "Mummy's still in this picture," he whispered. Emeka nodded. That's because this was taken before everything changed. Toby turned to him. Do you think she'll come here? I don't know, Emika said. But I know she knows where home is. The news of Emika's return spread fast. That same afternoon, a news channel showed his picture on TV. The headline said, Chief Emika returns. He was never broke. Phones started ringing. Social media buzzed. Blogs began writing stories. Friends started texting. Enemies started wondering. And somewhere in the middle of all this noise, Favor saw the post. She was in her boyfriend's room, scrolling through her phone lazily. When she saw the headline, her jaw dropped. What? She shouted. Daddy's back. He was never broke? Her boyfriend looked up. Your dad? That tech guy? Yes, Favor said, now sitting up. He tricked us. He tricked everyone. She stood up quickly and grabbed her bag. I have to go. Wait, her boyfriend said. Are you sure he'll even take you back after everything? I'm his daughter, she said loudly. He'll forgive me. She took the next cab home. As the car pulled into the compound, she fixed her hair, applied lip gloss, and practiced her fake smile. When the guard opened the gate, she walked in like nothing had happened. Daddy, she called, stepping into the living room. Oh my God, I missed you so much. Emika was sitting on the couch with Toby, watching a cartoon. He turned slowly and looked at her. Favor ran to him and tried to hug him, but he didn't move. He didn't open his arms. I didn't mean to leave like that, she said quickly. I was just scared. I thought we were poor. You said we weren't a family anymore, Emika replied, his voice quiet but firm. I didn't mean it, she said, eyes wide and shiny. I was angry, confused. Please, Daddy, don't shut me out. Toby looked at his sister and whispered, You didn't even say goodbye. Favor looked down, ashamed. I know, I was wrong. Emika stood up. You're welcome back, Favor. But things are not the same, not yet. She nodded quickly. I'll prove to you that I've changed. You'll have to, Emika said, before walking out of the room. That night, Emika couldn't sleep again. He walked out to the balcony. The moonlight poured gently across the compound. The city lights blinked in the distance. He heard the gate open. A car drove in slowly. The headlights were dim. He walked down the stairs, heart beating hard. As the car door opened, he saw Amarachi step out. She looked completely different. Her expensive clothes were gone. Her hair was packed simply. Her eyes were tired. Her face was pale. She took slow steps toward him, holding a small handbag and nothing else. Emeka, she said in a soft, shaky voice. He didn't speak. I know I don't deserve to be here, she continued, but I came anyway. I had to see you. I had to see Toby. He's sleeping, Emeka replied. He's had a long day. She nodded quickly. I understand. They stood in silence for a while. Then she added, I've been alone. Since you left. Since Kelvin showed me who he truly was. I've been alone with my shame. Emeka crossed his arms. You said I wasn't even a man anymore. You said you didn't recognize me. I was wrong, she said quickly. I was blind. I was chasing things that don't last. You left when I needed you. He said, you didn't even look back. I know. And I regret it every day, she said, her voice breaking. I thought money was everything. But when you left and that man used me, I realized the truth. What we had was real. What I had with him was fake. She knelt on the ground. Please, Emeka. I'm not asking you to love me again. I just want to be close. To be around. Even if it's from far. I want to see my son. I want to earn your trust back. Emeka looked down at her. The woman who once lived like a queen was now kneeling like a servant. He slowly bent down and helped her up. "You can stay in the guest room," he said quietly. "But don't expect things to go back to the way they were. That part of us is gone." She nodded, her eyes full of tears. "Thank you. Thank you." That night, Emeka stood in Tobe's room and watched him sleep peacefully. The boy rolled over and smiled in his dream. Emeka touched his forehead gently. "You were the only one who stayed," he whispered. "You never left me." The next morning, Toby ran downstairs and stopped when he saw his mom in the kitchen. "Mummy?" She turned, smiling nervously. "Hi, baby." "You're here." She nodded. "If that's okay with you." Toby ran and hugged her tightly. "I missed you." She held him close, crying softly. "I missed you more." Favor stood at the staircase watching them. For once, she didn't speak. She just watched and wiped her own tears quietly. Later that day, Emeka held a press conference. He walked up to the stage, dressed in a simple black suit. Reporters filled the room. Cameras flashed. He stood in front of the microphone and said, "Thank you all for coming. I want to say something important. I didn't disappear. I stepped back to find the truth. Not from the company, but from my family." Everyone went silent. "I wanted to know who loved me when I had nothing. And now I know." He walked away from the microphone and left the room. The press had never seen him so serious, so calm, so honest. Back at home, Emeka sat in his study with Toby beside him. Toby looked up. "Daddy, are you happy now?" Emeka paused, thinking carefully. "I'm still hurt," he said, "but I'm proud of myself. I did what I needed to do, and now I can move forward." Toby smiled. "I'm proud of you too." Emeka hugged his son tightly. His eyes closed slowly, and for the first time in a long time, he felt peace. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please leave a like and subscribe. Here is another interesting story to watch. Click to watch now.